So it's gonna make it harder for Nike to be able to go back to, like you was about to say, it, revisit the direct to consumer model. Well, now how can you do it when now you have essentially now the largest footwear distributor probably of.
Because I don't think so. I think the way they, I don't know the specifics of it. The way I'm just gonna surmise it is, like, they're still gonna do like the wholesale with all the other stuff, but like the definite shit, like they'll have like some LeBrons in the stores, right? They'll have some KDs and all this other shit.
They're
But
gonna
like
shoot themselves in the foot.
the
Like,
zero tier shit is gonna be them exclusively.
They still tier it that way.
I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
I don't know if they still tier that, but just for like descriptive purposes.
Yeah. Okay.
but my thing is,
But Dick's Sporting Goods would be a place where some of that lower tiered stuff would be able to sell at.
Yeah, which does.
But I think too, at the same time, where your retailers with Dick's Foot Locker might push back at it, say, "Hey, we moving all your BS. We gonna need some of that heat because we do earn the spot to carry some of your exclusive stuff." That's one. Number two, you made us rebuild all our Nike basketball stuff. Now we got this new experience instead of House of Hoops or something else now.
Yeah.
I forgot what's called on Amon Keller, the Foot Locker. So we spent money revamping and doing that to make shelf, right? We still carve out Nike product for your Nike product and releases. We still do raffles like you asked. So I think there's gonna be some pushback on that.
The reason I can still see them doing something with the boutiques is because it doesn't require too much, like, of their demand, because it's like usually these are like one-offs. Like there's only like one Kicks Lounge, right? It ain't like they got a bunch of Kicks Lounges everywhere. So we can give you we can allocate X amount of shoes to your store and still have the bulk for ourselves, which is what they did. You know, it still dropped in the sneakers app, but you know, also released that Kicks Lounge. And I think you'll still see like some LeBrons in the stores or whatever. Like, I'm not saying they're gonna totally, like, it's just going to be the B grade shit. You're going to get some A grade shit, but you're not going to see the CO3s there. You're not going to see, you might see the 12s that dropped. You might see the Carmelo Anthony 12s, like shit like that. So you'll still see Jordans, but like the top tier shit, like the Black Label LeBrons that came out, was that this year?
That was the All-Star.
I
that's going to be
you do
straight up
yourself a
sneakers.
disservice by doing that, because if I bought all your inline regular product and here comes a nice colorway that now I got to go to you for. And also too, to be honest with you, grade school kids are carrying Nike basketball right now. Because a lot of kids from a middle school to high school will like wearing those shoes. Parents don't mind buying them because basketball shoes tend to last a little bit longer for kids than like Air Force Ones or Air Max and stuff like that. So when you start to pull away on some of that, I think that you may do yourself a disservice, because we went through that before during the Kobe era where they put all the Kobe kids shoes. And so you've been down that road before where you try to dial back, and you can't afford to do this when Adidas is picking up steam.
No, but I do think this is a sweet spot for Nike, though, in the sense of, like, I'll give you the LeBron Bryce's World. I'll give you the LeBron whatever. But like I said, the top-notch shit that I know is going to sell, like that top shelf shit,
I'm going to keep that for myself.
I'm going to keep that for myself. And honestly, like, I think that's the perfect medium for them, because you still get LeBrons, you still get Jordans, you just don't get top shelf Jordans. You get, like I said, you get the white and sky blue 12s.
Yeah, but
like,
it'll probably
I think that would make it to me, if I'm only going to,
like them 11s, it's gonna be a sneakers.
So, but I think if you say, if even them,
maybe at some point,
them Korean threes, right?
Yeah.
If you only make say 400 pair, right, hypothetically.
Yeah.
And then you keep 250 for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How much money are you really making from going direct to consumer for that shoe?
More than you would if you did.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say you making your profit margin gonna be a lot higher because
you get 100%.
Dollar amounts, but the shoes are still limited. Say what? That's what 80 times 300, right? So we're looking at about 250,000, 240,000.
Yeah, but the other thing too is you also driving people back to you. You driving people back to you.
Yeah,
for once every 3 months.
Which is, but even if you driving them back to you, you still kind of like in the clear from, rather than if you overproduce.
Now you hold on to shoes.
Yeah.
Like, so like
you do that, but then here's my flip side. You do that, cool. You make your 250,000. Then that, what I seen, some of them threes going for 500. So you done made $80 on the shoe.
That's
certain shoes.
But that's forever going to be the battle.
No, but my thing
face
is, you
with
want to take some luster. You're not going to stop reselling.
But you got to look at
you want to dent in it.
Yes,
but no,
that's the thing
collaborations.
They got to be aware of.
They don't look at collaborations as money makers though. They use them as like more marketing than they do as like money makers. So because they know they're not going to make enough pairs to ever.
But who did they collaborate on the Korean threes?
Kicks Lounge.
Huh?
Kicks Lounge.
Them the only place that sold the Korean threes.
No, that's not the only place, but they were the collaborators.
Oh, they was the collaborators for the Korean.
Yeah, that wasn't the only place you
even
could
for
get
the
them.
ones from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know they were the only ones who collaborated on that.
Yeah, that was they were the collaborators. The owner of that store was the collaborator for that shoe.
Okay, so I wasn't aware of that part because I seen them come out, but when they pushed them out the last time, they didn't attach no Kicks Lounge to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even when you go read on the sneakers app, they make no reference to that.
Yeah.
That is.
So that is why I didn't look at it as a collaboration,
right?
Because they make no reference to him on the sneakers.
And I get that. I mean, once again, Nike doing a shit job of storytelling. I mean, go figure. But no, from a brand standpoint, because they don't look at collaborations like, oh, these will be money makers. They do look at them as eye catchers, right? So it's like, okay, they're gonna do well from a social media standpoint, which is going to garner, like you said, you're going to come back for the next collab, or we're going to drop something close to it, like Travis got ones, Mocha ones. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna like live off of this shit.
I think that sometimes that makes them waste money because sometimes when you drop,
I mean, if they sell,
that's the problem. Why it's such a crapshoot, though.
No, I think only that shoe wasn't because I wasn't sure in that store, so that shoe didn't make a lot of that shoe.
Of which one?
That Mocha one.
They didn't?
No, there was not a lot of those shoes.
They
bullshit because
they had a lot of them at the Nike store.
I was gonna say, probably because they sold the bulk of them on the sneakers app.
So from a retail standpoint, I think they kept some for themselves and pushed it out. But I'm thinking from a retail standpoint, to me, then they didn't send a lot to those retailers as far as that shoe. But
that's my point. I think they like, okay, we understand we still need retailers, but at the same time,
I'm talking as far as the Travis, between that and the Travis Scott. Some people didn't like the Travis Scott because the prime example, I love the Gary Payton's, the Zoom Flight 98s, the gloves, right? Mm-hmm. Then Nike made the Son of a gloves. Yeah. And some like the hood people bought that shoe because it was like $30 cheaper than the other one.
And they mind it.
But the next year,
it's still a glove.
Yeah, but the next year though, the Zoom GP one with the clacks on the side, right? This is the latch on the side. Fire. Then they did one. I forgot it was a Zoom Flight something, and it had the Velcro instead of the latch. Mm-hmm. That shoe sat everywhere because it's like, no, that ain't the real one. So sometimes it could be hit or miss where, I can kind of fake you into doing that, or other times people might have disdain for that shoe.
It's a risk, but it's a calculated risk. And all I'm saying is this, is that if there are certain shoes that you have a good hunch that are going to do well. So you know what? We're either going to sell them all ourselves or we're going to like take the bulk of it because that's still more money in our pocket because wholesale is 50%, 100% always trumps 50%, especially if I think it's going to sell well. And even if it doesn't sell well, like, okay, cool, it's going to sell enough to where even if I reduce the price, that's still more than I would get wholesale. So I think this is their way of trying to leverage that sweet spot to your point because it is a risk because, it's hard to, it is kind of hard to determine what will and what won't, but we got to, we can look at a release date calendar right now and tell, just like NBA players, how they look at the calendar, win, loss. Win.
I think we could tell it to an extent, but the one thing that we never get to see, we can't see production numbers though.
No, but I'm just saying, but we also looking at it from the eyes of people who've been in the game. I look at the Melo 12s and saying, I got to get those. 60% of the sneaker industry might be like,
no, but there's a difference between saying I got to get those and saying, okay, they're gonna do well. Like I'm Melo 12s, I might be like, I want to get those, but I can also acknowledge this ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's why I say if we had a chance to see production numbers, clearly there's a shit ton of them sitting around out there.
But they made
a bunch of them.
The UNC ones that just came out, I knew they weren't gonna do well.
Because people. Here's my thing. People
are
are kind of getting jaded with the reimagined theme on that Jordan
Didn't I just
1.
say that?
No.
So I mean that's my thing.
But see, my whole point with that would be then why would you mass produce? Why would you produce so many of those if they had limited the production on those?
Because they guess what it is? Is prime example. It's a producer. I'm gonna give Timbaland and say, I know this beat is not that great, so I'm gonna sell it to you, but I'm gonna keep the fire stuff for my album. At some eventually, some rappers gonna catch on. Either give me that same fire stuff for your album, or I'm not doing no verses for your project. So I think they getting it all, but retailers are also gonna peep too, because Nike got kind of show their hand a little bit when they go talk to them, and they're gonna catch on like, dog, you giving us all this mid stuff when.
It's not a perfect thing. Like, case in point, the Bulls, when they went 7-2-10, they lost 10 games. They lost one of those games to the Raptors. Now, if you would have asked Michael Jordan at the beginning of that season, are y'all going to lose to the Toronto Raptors this year? He probably would say probably not. They did, though, right? So, case in point, they probably did think that shit was going to sell. Didn't, right? But I'm just saying, in general, you could look at certain shoes, like 11s. We know that's going to sell, right? They could say we're going to drop a Concord 11 next year. Everybody and their mama know they're going to sell. Just because it's a Jordan 11 Concord, most coveted colorway of that shoe. They're going certain things you just know are going to sell. So,
but we talk about like new colorways, like that reimagined shoe is a new shoe. Like those.
I mean, it's not. It is what it isn't.
It's
like,
new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They just aged it